Hari Om Swamiji. I am Vimal from Vyasa class, and we discussed sloka 37 to 38 last week of Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, and Bhagavan is telling to Arjuna to stand up and fight this righteous war. He's trying to tell him his duty is for the community to do his duty. So some people interpret that Gita is preaching violence in place of peace. So what will be your comments about this?
What was the profession of Arjuna? He was not a pujari of the temple. So when Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, fight, a soldier's duty is to fight. Now please understand, Krishna has asked Arjuna to fight, so I will also fight with my mother-in-law. Please understand. In the very same Bhagavad Gita, you will find that one of the noble virtues is ahimsa. Ahimsa satyam akrodaha tyagashantira vaishunam. So there ahimsa is coming. On one side Bhagavan is glorifying ahimsa, on the other side Bhagavan is asking Arjuna to fight. Correct? Again, in 12th chapter Bhagavan says, such a devotee is very dear to me, who adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karuna evacha. A devotee who is very compassionate, never hates anyone. Even when others are disturbing him, he silently endures. Such a person is extremely dear to me. So therefore, when you see the whole thing, you cannot say that Bhagavad Gita is a scripture of war. No. To Arjuna, the specific instruction was to fight because he is a soldier. And a soldier's job is to fight. So whenever it is said, whenever such sections come where Bhagavan is asking Arjuna to fight, let us understand it is to perform one's duty. I hope it is clear. People who have not studied Bhagavad Gita fully, they make such mistakes, saying that Bhagavad Gita is a warmongering scripture. No. People, don't worry about people. We must have answers which which satisfies us. If it was, a scripture of violence, then why is it that Bhagavan is glorifying ahimsa? This question you must ask. To ask, you must also have reference, This places. Bhagavan has said like this. That itself shows that it is,
He had already a very selfish motive that what will happen to my grandfather, what will happen to my other relatives and everything. So what exactly it means is that Bhagavan wanted to bring him out of his selfish motive and wanted him to do his duty. And the duty is to be a warrior, which he was from the birth.
Correct. Yes.
Hari Om Swamiji. So this question is from related to Tattva Bodha class. The text and commentary by our Guruji. It starts with explaining why everybody or how everybody is after something objects in search of to fulfill their desires, and it boils down to say that everybody is after happiness. So in our class discussion we had trouble coming to a conclusion what actually is happiness. is just a joy or feeling good or feeling satisfied. So, and whether happiness is important in our life or something else, like achieving some goal. So we discussed, and then it became my question also, like what actually is happiness? How do we put that in words and explain it to ourselves? This is happiness, and this is what really I am after. So what can you give an explanation for happiness?
See, there are various shades of happiness. When a desire is fulfilled, you are happy. When you get a good sleep, you are happy. When you properly sneeze also, you are happy. Yes or no? There are varieties of happiness. The sum total of everything into infinity. That is what we are seeking. We are not seeking finite happiness. So, all these terms are nothing but happiness only. Good health, peace, contentment, joy, excitement, whatever flavors or shades of happiness you have, everything put together. That's what we are seeking. Attaining which you feel that, now there is nothing more. Nothing else can tempt you. If that state is there, that is what we are seeking. That is called as Ananda. The worldly joys, we are generally use the term Sukha. But the term used in spirituality is Ananda. Ananda is the sum total of everything.
As a follow-up, so before knowing the definition of Atman, like Satchit Ananda, so this Ananda is what is happiness. How would anyone come to feel that, okay, that is what I am looking after, before knowing the definition of that Ananda as such as in the scriptures? Or for example, also it is momentarily, right? So at this time, what is important to me, will that become Ananda, for example, at this time? So I am in a dangerous place, so my first attempt is to come out of that place. So then Ananda or any enjoyment, anything will not be my goal at that time. Is it possible to connect that the feel of coming to a safety, achieving safety is also, can it be translated to
that
happiness?
Is also Ananda only. When I feel secure, mind is at peace. That is also Ananda. When I am insecure, I lose my peace. So that's what, everything put together. That is Ananda. If there is hunger, your Ananda is gone. When that hunger is satiated, there is a joy. That joy is also a part of this Ananda only. Everything is coming from the self.
All right.
See, you will find that in every joy, just before that joy, there was a disturbance. Mind is disturbed, you are seeking something, you got it, mind is peaceful, and when the mind is peaceful, there is a joy, isn't it?
Yes.
So actually it is nothing but the joy of the self. The joy of the self is obstructed when the mind is agitated, disturbed. The joy of the self expresses through the mind when the mind becomes peaceful. So every joy, what you experience, is nothing but coming from the self alone.
Okay.
So the purpose of spirituality is to maximize this joy. To what maximum can I take this joy to? That is the purpose. That's the purpose of all the spiritual study, contemplation, meditation, everything. That is the purpose. To intensify this peace. This peace which is defectless, free from all kinds of defects.
Hari Om Swamiji, one question that came up last year in the Atma Bodha class was, after someone passes away, are the rituals that we do at death, do they help that individual's jiva at that point, or is it more for the people who are still living? What purposes do those serve?
See, let us be very clear with karma theory. What does karma theory say? As you sow, so shall you reap. So how you have lived your life, that will determine your future life. So you live a very, corrupt life, and then your children, you means we, okay. A politician lives a very impure life, and then he dies, and his children burns the body in sandalwood, calling all the great pandits, chanting the best of mantras. Will it help? Let us be very, very clear. My future is in my hands, and my future will depend on what I do in my present. What is the kind of actions I do? Selfish or selfless? Egoistic or egoless? So all those things will determine my future. My future is not in the hands of others. If you say that all these rituals will decide my future, then what does it mean? Somebody else's karma is going to decide my fate, which is illogical. Understood? But then naturally a question comes, then should we do rituals? See, all these rituals are meant for the living. Mainly. Because see, my father, my mother dies, and I don't do anything, it is an expression of ingratitude. So all these rituals are basically to express my gratitude towards the departed soul. How you express it, it is up to you. You may do some annadanam, or you may do some puja, or you may do some selfless service activity which is benefiting the society in that person's name. So really speaking, when you are doing, you are the one who is benefited. Because expression of gratitude will purify your mind. As far as the other person is concerned, we really don't know. Understood? He may get, he may not get, they are all nothing but your imagination. But one thing also I will tell you, if you have really lived your life properly, when you depart from this world, there will be somebody who will do something for you out of gratitude. So live a life in such a way that very many people are grateful towards you and do something. But really speaking, that is not going to affect you. So if this philosophy we believe strongly, then we will not depend on our children or grandchildren to do some. There are some people, Ayyo Swamiji, I have only one son, he doesn't believe in all this. When I die, what will happen to me? This fellow will not do any karma, I know it. So then they hire some, there are professional people who will do all this karma. Just see, if I die, some amount is given to them. When I die, please do this, bury this body or burn this body here. That is because they have no idea about this law of karma. How your body is buried, how your body is burned, it has nothing to do with your future. Your future is decided by your thoughts, your words, your deeds. That's it. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamaiveti kaunteya sada tat bhava bhavitaha. Last class only we discussed this. At the time of death, when a person dies, what is his last thought? That will decide his future. If this is the thing, how does it matter how this body is buried or burned? This clarity has to be there. Clear? Okay.
Hariom Swamiji, going back to the Vivek or Tattva Bodha class, the concept of Vivek and Vairagya, and I had a question regarding life and tactical situation. So, 75-year-old person is diagnosed with the cancer and has been told that you must take medicine in order to survive. The person has two choices. They can say that they're fulfilled and they're content, and they don't take the medicine. So is that a vairagya? Or is the vairagya to do the duty, you still have responsibilities, you must take the medicine, go through the suffering, and then continue on?
This question is absolutely subjective. I cannot answer for that person. But indeed it is, it is praiseworthy if a person says that 75 years I have lived my life. I'm not going to take any medicine. Anyway, the body has to die today or tomorrow. Even if I take medicine few more years, what is the use? If somebody can stay there, hats off. Because what will happen is, a dying person will hold on to God like anything. It is far better to hold on to God than hold on to medicines. A person who is not taking medicine knows very soon I am going to die, then that mumukshutvam will be very intense. At the time of death, I must chant Bhagavan's name before dying. So what happens is, that intensity becomes very strong. A person who depends on medicine thinks that, I can survive. He becomes a little casual. So I would prefer the other death. Don't take medicine and chant Bhagavan's name. This is my personal opinion, but I cannot give advice to others.
Thank you.
Hari Om Swamiji. So in Tattva Buddha, a realized person gets rid of sanchit karma. He still has to follow the prarabdha karma even after realization. The karma theory is that if you do karma, there will be karma phala. So realized person, he doesn't have sanchit karma. He cannot.
Yes.
He cannot do anything about prarabdha karma. So agami karma is under control. So he continues to do whatever he wants to do, whether he wants to do, not do, but he might do something. So that's a karma. So for realized person's karma, are there any karma phala for that realized person?
So we have to understand the definition of karma first. What is karma? Actions done with identification with the body is called karma. Not some action. Any action will not become karma. Karma is karma only when there is identification. Now, in a realized person, is there identification? No. So there is no karma. Though externally you may see that he is doing so many things, actually there is no karma. That is why agami karma is not there for jnani. Just like a person who is sleeping, in the dream he is seeing some football match, and then he gives a kick. In the dream he is kicking a football. But in the waking actually he is kicking his brother, let us say, who is sleeping next. Will it be a karma? Why? Because he is not identified with the waking body. So that is not karma. So even when the brother wakes up and he knows that he has kicked, he will not punish him. Because he knows he is in the dream he is kicking. So in the same way, only when there is identification with the physical body, karma is there. Otherwise there is no karma. So for realized person, there is no karma.
So the main issue is the identification. So if somebody is doing a selfless karma yogi spirit karmas, that I'm just doing it for...
Question is easy and jnani.
So there's so the question comes to identification with the body. So even if you do a selfless service, pleasing God, as long as you have the I am this body feeling, you're going to continue karma phala.
Hari Om Swamiji. So these questions are from Kindle Life class. So there in that chapter, 4 different personalities are described: physical, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual. So here there's some curiosity about what is the difference between spiritual and intellectual personalities, and is it a transition from spiritual to intellectual or the other way around, vice versa?
See, intellectual personality is all about your understanding. Understanding about yourself, understanding about the world. But what is spiritual personality? I am the self. I am pure consciousness. That is called spiritual personality. In the world I may be an officer, doctor, lawyer, etc. But what is my spiritual personality? I am consciousness. The question is how much knowledge I have gained in this regard. That will become my spiritual evolution or personality, etc. My true identity. Actually, who am I? Other than this BMI. Yes.
Okay, and again in chapter 6, they are mentioning the integration between the four personalities. So how this desired integration, which we all want, happens? And can you give us examples? And how do we know if the desired integration has happened?
See, integration means the lower should readily come under the discipline of the higher. That is called integration. So which is higher and which is lower? So Bhagavad Gita very clearly says, Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhya param manah manasastu para buddhihi yo buddhe paratastu saha. This is the ladder. Compared to sense objects, sense organs are higher. Compared to sense organs, mind is higher. Compared to mind, intellect is higher. And compared to intellect, that Supreme Lord or the Self. So, the lower should readily come under the control of the higher. So, the mind should be able to control the sense organs. The intellect should be able to control the mind. Mind should obey the intellect. And the intellect should obey the Lord, the Self, whatever. Then that is integration.
Thank you. And in the chapter of dual path, can there be more than one dual path? Can the prayers and shreyas coexist?
Can you give an example?
Like say...
You may be unclear about prayers and shreyas, but actually speaking, they cannot remain together.
Oh, they cannot.
Otherwise, you will have to give an example.
Okay.
The more and more you evolve spiritually, the more and more you are able to clearly bifurcate the two, clearly see the difference between the two. If you are not seeing the difference, it is because the intellect is not, subtle enough to see the difference.
Finally, one last question. How to differentiate between ambitions and happiness, and between material versus spiritual, and how to find the balance?
As you evolve, your definition of this will keep changing. Your balance also keeps changing. As you evolve, slowly you find that your spiritual needs are more, your material needs are less. This is what happens as you evolve. The priorities also start changing. And then you will have more and more. In fact, you will see the law of life is this. Whatever you value, you will have time for it. Whatever you value, you will work hard for it. And therefore, whatever you value, you will get it. This is the law. Very many people, they don't value spirituality at all. They value only material things. So therefore, they get material things. But the spiritual joy, they will not. Highly stinkingly rich, but miserable, tensed, worried, anxious. Such people you will find in the society. Why? Totally focused on materialism. They get it. Then because of that misery, they understand that no, peace is important. Then slowly they start investing their time and energy in spirituality. And to that extent they get more and more peace. Slowly you start evolving and you come to know, a time comes when you say, the Lord is there, He will take care. In fact, that happens. As you evolve spiritually, your materialistic needs are taken care by the Lord so that you have enough time for your spiritual practices. This is what happens at the advanced stages.
Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Right.
Hari Om, Swamiji. So my question, I have two questions. One is, what does the scriptures talk about self-care and my duty? So my duty as a daughter, a mother, a wife, and as a citizen of a country, and taking care of myself. And how do where do I draw the line without feeling guilty if I'm doing too much of a self-care, or if self-care also taking care of my body, my health, also my dreams. I have a certain dream, I want to pursue it. And what does the scriptures talk about? This duty and self-care.
See, as I told, your duty will keep changing as you evolve. So the only guidance I can give you is, whenever you are doing too much of a thing, there will be guilt. Then understand that you are doing too much. If you are doing too less also, there is a guilt. So you will have to find the balance. That which will not create guilt is what you are supposed to do. Yes. In fact, the Lord is guiding you every moment because He knows at what stage of evolution you are. So according to that stage of evolution, He will keep guiding you. And that guilt feeling is a guidance from within. And when you are doing the right thing, balance, you will find that there is peace. There is a sense of satisfaction, fulfillment. Yes, I have done what I am supposed to do. I am not overdoing, nor am I underdoing. Just listen to that voice. As long as you are listening to that voice, everything is fine.
Hariom. So I have been very enlightened, I think, by the conversation and discussion on the art of dying. Very thought-provoking. So my question is about the art of being left behind. The anticipation.
Art of being left behind?
Yes.
What does it mean?
So the anticipation of a beloved's death. So the disturbance that comes from grief on our equilibrium, and how to find peace in the loved one's departure. And then further, how to teach children the same.
Yes. The person who is dead and gone, he is gone. What about us who are left behind? How to handle the grief? Now, who is responsible for that grief? Where did that grief come from? It has come from attachment. I should say it has come from unhealthy attachment. What do you mean unhealthy attachment? When you are ignoring a fact and when you are getting attached to a thing, being, or a situation, completely ignoring the reality, then that attachment is called unhealthy attachment. For example, what is the reality of life? Everybody has to die. We are here for some time, whoever we are, husband, wife, children, we are here for some time, and a time will come when I will have to go or they will have to go. This is reality. A person who is ever in touch with the reality will not grieve. Just like that, this is the example which we give. Train journey. I don't know whether you have ever boarded a train in those times. The train journey used to be 3-4 days. Some 20-30 years back maybe, I don't know. So then what happens? You are with strangers and you have a very good conversation. You share your food also. And you have a bonding also. But constantly at the back of the mind, one thing is there. What? Either I will have to get down in a particular station or this person will get down. You are having a very good relationship. You are talking together, laughing together, sharing everything, this, that, etc. But the back of the mind, it's very clear, we have to get down at some or the other station. This relationship is not going to be permanent. And therefore, in spite of that, you are able to enjoy the relationship. In the same way, if you can just enjoy that, if you can just keep this in mind, this life is a journey. For some time we are all together, but a time will come when we have to get separated. If this truth is ever kept glowing at the back of the mind, this grief will not be there. Our only relationship, permanent relationship, is with God. All other relationships are impermanent. When we forget this reality, we get into unhealthy attachment, and then this grief comes. Greater the attachment, greater is the grief.
What about love? That is unhealthy attachment.
The proof whether your love is unhealthy or healthy depends on what happens when that person is no more there in your life. Are you disturbed? If you're disturbed, then that love is unhealthy. Anything which makes you a slave in this world is unhealthy. Anything. You have to remain a master of all circumstances. A person is there, fine. I'm happy dealing with that person. That person is no more, fine. That is also fine. I'm accepting it cheerfully. Cheerful acceptance of all situation must be,
Just extension of that. So we can academically, theoretically, spiritually understand this as adults. How do you explain this to a child?
You have to live it and show it. For the child, who is the role model? Mother is the role model. Father is the role model. The child will just imitate. It just follows because it doesn't have any intellect of its own, and the child knows. So therefore, whoever are the role models, the Sreshta Purushas, Yadyat Acharati Sreshtaha Tat Tat Eva Itaraha Janaha. So as far as children are concerned, parents are the role models. So whatever you do, the child will imitate. And as the child knows that, see how beautifully my mother is behaving. The peace of mind is there. In your behavior, how you carry yourself, your speech, everything the child is noting. So these things becomes a reference for the child.
Hari Om Swamiji. So I actually have a few questions, but I'll ask one for now, which is following up. So if we say our relationship is only with God, but we have all these rituals, we have a gotra. When we say like a person gets married, the wife gets into the husband's gotra. Their karmas or their fates get intertwined. So how can we then, we do tarpan, we do shraddh, and then we also say like a body has to be disposed of within hours for the person to move on. But then how do these two relate? Are we still we still come under a gotra and all of that, and then at the same time we say that the only person we belong to is God. So how do these two interrelate then?
I have not understood the question.
Okay, so the question is you mentioned.
One line, give the question. What is that one line?
How does how in the movie Avatar we all belong to a tree, right? And we are all so do we really belong to this tree which is our family lineage, or is every person of the family just their individual travelers on the tree?
They are all individual travelers. Just imagine, once upon a time I was a stone, then I became a plant, then I became an insect, then I became a bird, then I became an animal, and then I became a human being. In the human being also I was a tamasic person first, then I became a rajasic person. Thousands and thousands and thousands of births we have already gone through. So which one will you say you are that?
But then why do they say you got this husband because of your karma?
Yes.
Or you're bound for 7 lives?
About 7 lives, there is no such mention in the scripture. 7 lives will be there. If your karmas are better, you will get a better husband. But if you keep on doing, balas tavat krida asaktaha, tarunas, same mechanical, the same husband will come. Keep on improving, keep on evolving. As you keep on evolving, your external environment also become more and more conducive, more and more blissful. Your environment is directly connected to your thoughts, words and deeds. If your actions are noble, if your thoughts are noble, you will attract a beautiful world around you. And beautiful people around you also.
Hari Om. So my question is is there a better future? We are told we are in Kali Yuga, And Kali Yuga has been told as the worst time in life. Is that really true, or like is the earth is going to have like a cycle where we are going to have a better time in the future? Because we all want a better future for our kids and like grandkids, or like it has to be a better place. But the way the destruction's going on earth, is it going to be a better place in the future after the destruction?
See, to change the world, it is not in my hands. To bring peace in the world, it is not in my hands. But to bring peace in my mind, that is in my hands. And actually that alone matters. There may be peace in the world, but if my mind is disturbed, I am in hell. World may be going through hell, but if my mind is peaceful, I am in heaven. Those scriptures say, don't try to change others. Just change yourself. That's all what is needed. Yes or no? This is possible. You can have a beautiful mind, a peaceful mind, free from anger, jealousy, greed, everything. You can enjoy a blissful state of mind. That is in your hands. Controlling the world with Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, that is not in our hands. In fact, in Bhagavatam it is said, Kali Yuga is the best Yuga. I am not joking. It is there. You know why? Because it is said, just by chanting the name of the Lord you can reach. It is best Yuga because it is very easy to take the mind towards the Lord, because there is so much of suffering. You know, when there is suffering, it is very easy to take the mind towards the Lord. You know the prayer of Kunti Mata? Vipadas santu nashashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsya apunar bhavadarshanam. Bhagwan, keep giving me more and more calamities. Keep giving me tragedies. Because in calamities and tragedy, I sincerely am able to, from the depth of my heart, I am able to pray. And I can experience your presence in my heart. So therefore, give me tragedies. Because when everything is going smooth, I am not able to, really pray. I take everything for granted. I become mechanical. But when problems are there, tragedies are there, yes, my prayer becomes heartfelt. And there I am able to experience you. Therefore, give me more problems. So if this is true, Kali Yuga is the best Yuga. The point is this, you have to just take care of your mind. If that mind is full of devotion, dispassion, love, etc., you are basking in joy. You understood? This is, yes, this we can create for ourselves. And that is the purpose of all our spiritual study and all this.
This is a very good explanation I got. Because when our elders talk about Kali Yuga or any problems, you will get into the problem. But they won't say they don't have really time to explain why you will get into the problem. It is a challenge. This is how you have to tackle. So there is, whenever we have to stop our kids or tell somebody don't do it, there is no time to explain how to do it. So that's how we were brought up most of the time, and we were thinking of not getting into trouble, how to take the trouble is the hardest part. That's probably the best way. Yeah.
You will find that when you are peaceful, you radiate peace in your family, in your professional field. Wherever you go, you create an environment of peace. Because that which you have, that only you can give to others. If you are agitated, disturbed, etc., worried, tense, you will disturb everyone. But if you are peaceful, you give peace to everyone. And thus, you attract a beautiful world around yourself when you are peaceful. So therefore, we should start from ourselves. Instead of worrying about peaceless world, let us worry about the peacelessness of our mind.
Hari Om Swamiji. This is kind of a loaded question, so please bear with me. So, comparing again science and religion, right? So, one of the differences I see is that science always tells us to the extent that it knows, but it's also candid in saying what it doesn't know. But most of the religions tend to say that they have all the answers. And here I wanted to press on, does religion, especially our scriptures, what is their position? I mean, do they have answers to all the mysteries, or is it only like philosophical speculation that our scriptures are also indulging in? For example, right, like the concept of Brahman, we say Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman, and that is how like the whole of the life and creation and everything came into being. Is there a satisfactory explanation in our scriptures as to the origins of the universe and what we are seeing around, or is it mere philosophical speculation? What is the position of the scriptures?
See, let me tell you, no explanation is going to satisfy you. Only experience is going to satisfy you. Because every explanation you can find some loopholes. Yes or no? You can always doubt any explanation. So we are not too much into explanation. We are into experience. Once you experience it, that's it. I can go on explaining what is heat, fire, what is the nature of it. I can go on explaining it. But once you burn your fingers, then you will no more have any questions regarding what is heat. Yes or no? Theoretical explanation has no value. It is just a bundle of information. The most important thing is experience. And all our scriptures, their culmination of knowledge is in experience. Yesterday also this topic came. Knowledge has got 3 levels. The first level is information. You read someone, you listen to somebody, you gather some information. That information is not going to satisfy you. Then comes the second stage, conviction. So information comes from Shravanam. Conviction comes from Mananam, reflection. You reflect upon it. Think deep. And finally you come to know, yes, now my understanding is doubtless. But that also is not satisfactory. There also you should not end. The third one is Nididhyasanam, where this knowledge becomes wisdom in you. What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Experiential knowledge is called wisdom. You become wise. Not just knowledgeable, but wise. Wise means what? You know it. How do you know? Not an information. You know it through your own experience. If it is your own experience, all questions end there. For example, a person is dreaming or dreaming. He has a lot of questions regarding the dream world. So many questions are there. But the moment he wakes up, what happens to all the questions of the dream world? The questions end. Is it temporarily ending or permanent ending? The permanent ending. After waking up, he knows that, oh, maybe that is real. No, over. All questions are over. So how clearly a waker sees the reality of the dream world. How all his answers are questioned after waking up. Now remember, waking up is an experience. The dream experience, he has gone to the waking state experience, is an experience. And once that experience comes, all his questions are put to naught. This is what happens in spirituality. You come to know yourself. And the moment you come to know yourself, you come to know the reality of the world, reality of God, reality about yourself. The Triputi merges into one. I alone am. That is the experience. And in that, there is no doubt. Why? Because you are directly experiencing it. Just like that waker. Waker has no doubt regarding dream. Understood? This is what happens. So, in spirituality, what actually happens is not that you are getting answers to all questions. What happens is the questioner disappears. Do you understand? You are having so many questions. Who is this questioner? That is spirituality. And when you inquire into the nature of the questioner, you find that he doesn't exist.
Okay, so Swamiji, what you're saying is theoretical knowledge is not going to answer all the questions. You have to go through the process, spiritual evolution, and that's the only way you can get your
experience. That is knowledge. That is the thing.
So you have to find your own answers, in other words.
Of course, everyone. You have to wake up from the dream.
So follow-up questions again, like on a spiritual journey, people will have to invest a lot of time, effort. How can we be at this point, where I'm just starting off, how can I be sure that the people like whom you're saying are realized? It's not like a mental trance or something which makes them feel that they've realized. How do I know that this is the right path?
Just continue with an open mind.
Yeah.
Just continue with an open mind and see what is happening to the peace of mind which you are experiencing.
Okay.
Many times when we ask our mission members, they say, Swamiji, such a great difference I see in myself. I may not have been enlightened, but one thing is for sure, 5 years back when I came, and today, looking at myself, I see a drastic change in myself. This itself is a proof that the path is right. There is more peace, there is more contentment, there is more clarity with regard to life, how to handle situations in life. There is more peace. Worries, anxiety, stress, etc. has come down a lot. So if these changes you are seeing, understand that the path is right. Again, it's experience. You are experiencing peace.
How do we know that that's not psychological conditioning or some kind of a brainwashing? Like even we see that there are people like jihadis or who are actually brainwashed to do certain things after years and years of mental conditioning in a certain way. I'm not saying, so this may be a positive conditioning which is happening, but how do we not know that this is some kind of a psychological trick that is being played on the human being?
Correct. See, I don't care what conditioning it is, as long as I am experiencing defect-free peace. I don't care. I want peace. I want happiness. I want clarity. I want to be free from all kinds of doubts, misery, tension, worries. If there is a product which can give me defect-free peace. Defect-free, why am I saying this? Because the drugs, etc., it has got full of defects. Defect-free, permanent peace, if I can get it. I don't care whether it is conditioning or whatever name you give. This is one aspect, okay. But I know that it is not because there are very many masters who have walked this path. It is not that I am the guinea pig who is walking this path. Bahavo jnana tapasa puta mad bhavamagata. Bhagavan is saying this. Arjuna, walk this path. Very many have already attained. You can also attain. Everybody can attain this. So I have a scriptural support. I have great masters who have lived this, who have experienced this. It is not that I am the lone person who is walking. Very many have already attained. And in their life we see it also. How beautifully our elderly masters are handling situations. Beautifully handling all responsibilities. With the strength of this knowledge. In front of my eye, I see masters doing this. In spite of that, if I am doubting it, understand it is the impurity of my mind. Because Shraddha, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, one very big quality is Shraddha. What is the definition of Shraddha? Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasa. My faith in the teacher, my faith in the scriptures. Automatically that a pure mind automatically has faith. So if I am still not able to trust these masters, trust these scriptures, then there is some serious problem with my mind. The mind is impure. A pure mind naturally trusts. In spite of giving all this logic, in spite of that, if I am having doubt, then I have to purify my mind.
Hari Om Swamiji, thank you for having this session. I am in the Tattva Bodha class, and last week, for 2 weeks we've been doing sixfold wealth. And in the section on Uparama, we had a good discussion last week, and I was looking at it, and it's observance of dharma and of duty. Talked a little bit about it today too. In a modern context, well, I'll say this, as I was reading it and appreciating that it was observance of duty, I impatiently went to the question of, but what is duty? How do we find out our own duty? So in the modern context and in the practicality of how we live, can you say a little bit about how you discover your dharma and discover your duty? Because it's not the family we're born into or income levels or anything like that. But in order to observe that duty, we have to know what it is first. So can you say more about discovering that?
See, the sixfold wealth, Samadhi Shatka Sampati. What are the four sadhana, what called? Sadhana Chatushtaya? Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi Shatka Sampati and Mumukshutva. Now, Samadhi Shatka Sampati, there are certain abilities of a qualified mind, of a pure mind. In Vedanta, the whole Vedanta is detached from what you are not, attached to what you are. This is the whole of Vedanta. Detached from the body, mind, intellect, which you are not, attached to consciousness, which is you. So this detach, attach has to happen by the mind. Mind has to do it. Detach, attach is nothing but paying attention. Pay attention to what you are, then you get what you are. So, what are the qualifications of a pure mind? That is this thing. So, Shama, quietening ability. The ability to quieten the mind. A pure mind will automatically become quiet. Shama. Dhamma, the ability to control the sense organs. Controlling ability. Uparama, here Uparama is actually withdrawing ability. The ability of the mind to withdraw from all other preoccupations. Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, the enduring ability. Not getting distracted by the pains and sufferings of life. Not getting distracted from the goal. That is Titiksha. Cheerful endurance. Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, trusting ability. Samadhanam, concentrating ability. So these are all the different abilities of the mind. So Uparama actually is the withdrawing ability. So when you are performing your duty, you are unknowingly doing two things. What is it? Withdrawing from all distractions and applying the mind to what you are supposed to do. Isn't it? So actually speaking, Uparati means this, ability to withdraw. Yeah.
So how do you, I think my question was more around understanding what you're moving towards. So understanding and discovering the duty itself.
So your question is about duty, not about Uparama.
It's both in a way, but more about duty, yes.
How do I know what is my duty? Is this the question? See, if you observe nature, nobody is confused in this world except human beings. Regarding duty. A monkey is not at all, he is not confused whether should I jump into water or climb the tree. It's very clear. Earthworm is very clear. I should be under the earth. They are not copying others. There is no peer pressure. A deer is very clear. I should run on the ground and I should eat grass. A fish is very clear. I should be underwater. The more and more you are tuned to your Creator, you know what your duty is. Because He is guiding you every moment. Problem comes when we are not listening to that guidance from within and we are listening to the external noise. That is when we get totally confused. You are listening to others. Actually, whom you are supposed to listen, you are not listening. Your creator, who knows everything about you. What kind of vasanas you have, what kind of nature you have, what is your swadharma, everything he knows because he has been with you from the beginningless past. And he is guiding you. Do this, don't do this, do this. And how does he guide? Whenever you are doing the wrong thing, there is a pain. Whenever you are doing the right thing, there is peace. So through the voice of peace and pain, he is guiding you. But when you don't listen to him, you listen to these management gurus, then you have a problem. You understood? Listen to that voice. That is why every day you must pray. How did Arjuna get the clarity? The prayer, sincerely tuned to him. Karpanya doshopa hatasvabhavaha prachami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha. Arjuna, the number one archer in this world, even he was confused. He did not know whether to fight or not to fight. What is my duty? What did he do then? Surrender. Oh Lord, I don't know what I am. So this is the seventh verse in the second chapter. Karpanya doshopa hatasvabhavaha prachami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yachrayasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Oh Lord, please guide me. I am your shishya. Guide me. Bhagavad Gita starts from there. So whenever you have such confusions in life, a Mahatma, great Swamiji called Swami Akhandanji Maharaj, he said, chant this verse every night before you go to sleep. If you don't know, Swamiji Sanskrit and all is difficult for me. Okay, you just talk to God. That is enough. And please guide me. I am not clear what to do in life. I am not clear. You do this, something will turn up. And there will be clarity. Something from within will tell you, yeah, this is the way you have to do. And as you are walking, from within there is peace, there is fulfillment, saying that yes, this is what you are supposed to do. You understood? Turn to God, your creator, that is the way.
Hari Om Swamiji. So this question is regarding faith and blind faith, I would say. So certain rituals we perform with certain baking, and there is a strong understanding on that. But certain rituals are becoming more like a superstitious belief. And this is the situation right from, say, I'm looking at my home. My parents have certain beliefs which they would strictly follow. So how to make public aware, or how to make a good balance of rituals and avoid superstitions? Basically, the faith and the right faith and the going away from the blind faith. Any suggestions, thoughts on that?
Can you define what is right faith and blind faith?
So, blind faith is like a...
Both are blind. Faith means being blind. You don't know, you believe that it may be so.
Yeah, it is my faith. Somebody else, it could be blind.
Faith is something which you cannot prove. It is always blind.
Okay.
Always it is blind. Faith in God, we say. I don't know, but I believe. I don't know. If I know it, then prove it. You can't. So remember, faith is always blind. There is nothing called right faith or wrong faith. Okay. So your faith must be based on the scriptures. Then you are safe. Study the scriptures. Yes, the Lord is saying this, then it must be true, because the Lord has said it. Then you are safe. There is a beautiful definition of faith, Faith is the belief in what you do not see, and the reward is you see what you believed in. Faith is the belief in what you do not see. So in the beginning you don't see, but there is a belief and you go on. And the reward is you start seeing what you believed in. This is the world. If you have strong faith in something, then you will start seeing that thing happening to you. If you strongly believe that 13 number is an inauspicious number, then everything such thing starts happening to you.
Right.
That's the play of the mind. Because you are only tuned to the inauspiciousness of 13 number, and since you are tuned to inauspiciousness, you will pick up only such signals which are inauspicious. You understood? So it is always good, whatever the faith you are having, let it be based on the scriptures. Then you will be always safe. And then you will start seeing the results also.
Hari Om.
Right, Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji. So my question is somewhat a continuation of this theme of devotion. And if I've understood and heard correctly, in the Bhagavatam also I think there is discussion about how you can increase devotion or evolve by almost, I don't know if testing is the right word, but testing God or sort of, creating practical daily ways to build your relationship or see or test that relationship. Can you expound more on that? I'm not sure I fully understood that concept of trying to do things on a daily basis that you see that pull happen as opposed to pushing towards God.
See, the natural tendency of human mind is, we have a lot of problems. And if there is somebody who can solve all our problems, we tend to love that person. Yes or no? So in this world, we have a lot of problems, family problem, profession problem, etc. How to develop devotion for God? So use all those promises which Bhagavan himself has made in the scriptures. What are the promises? Name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee shall never perish. Majjitta sarvadurgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. By my grace you shall overcome all problems. Ananyas chintayanto mam yejana paryupasate. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Those devotees who fix their mind upon me, I look after their welfare and well-being. So many promises are given. So what we have to do? Test God. In the beginning, I don't know whether he will fulfill my promise, his promise or not. But I have problem. Let us take this problem to God and see whether he is solving it or not with an open mind. And you will find that these problems are solved miraculously, beautifully. Best solution you get from God. Then what happens to your love, your faith, etc. starts growing. Your relationship starts growing. And this relationship is very, very useful in living in this world. Because this relationship can give you strength, can give you peace, can give you solace, can give you inspiration, can give you enthusiasm. Whatever you need, this relationship can give you. So you have to practice it, put it into practice. And when you start seeing results, the faith starts building, and a time comes when it is no more faith, it becomes your knowledge, your wisdom. You know that there is somebody who is looking after me.
So Swamiji, if you start seeing that and you start building that faith or that devotion, then I also think about, like in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan has told Arjuna there are levels of devotees.
Yes.
The best devotee is someone who is not expecting anything.
Yes.
How to move towards that?
By practicing the lower. You can't directly jump into the higher. So Artha Bhakta. First you become Artha Bhakta. When you have problems, go to God. Then become Artharthi Bhakta. I have a lot of desires, fulfill those desires through God. Then a time comes when you are really wanting to know who God is. That is called as Jitnyasu Bhakta. And finally you come to know that God is none other than my own self. That is Jnani Bhakta. At that stage, you know that, everything is beautifully taken care of. Therefore you don't have any questions to ask. You don't have any desire.
But Swamiji, there seems to be when something, that relationship gets, you start to test and you see that it is working the way the scriptures are saying. Sometimes there's a guilt that, good things are happening.
Guilt?
I don't know if guilt is the right word. It is
guilt that good things are happening.
Guilt may not be the right word, but you start to observe, the good things happening and God in that relationship.
That's good, no? Why should you have guilt? You should be happy. There is such a relationship. There is a Lord who is looking after me, who is taking care of me. All my problems, He is solving it through various ways. Why should you have guilt?
Maybe guilt is not, I don't, because then you look outside and you see the world is, there is suffering going on.
Yes.
war, and things like that.
Correct. See, when you totally trust God, and when you firmly believe that He is the one who is looking after the whole world, and everybody is His child, and He can never hate us, His love for us is unconditional and infinite. With this knowledge, when you look into the world, then there is no more. He is looking after everyone. Maybe that is what that person deserves. Therefore, that is happening. How do we know what that person deserves? Pain is also a great teacher. Let us not forget this. Pain is a great teacher. Suffering is a great teacher. When we suffer, we introspect. When we suffer, we become humble. When we suffer, we become grateful. When we suffer, our stone heart melts in suffering. Only a person who has suffered can be compassionate. A person who has never known suffering can never be compassionate. Because he never understands the pain of others. When I go through pain, I understand how much the other person is suffering, isn't it? So suffering is a necessary means for us to evolve. It is necessary. A suffering person easily turns to God. So there are so many benefits in suffering. And that is why Bhagavan is giving, remember, measured dose of suffering. What do you mean by measured dose? How much we can handle, only that much He will give you. He will not give overdose. So therefore in this world, everything is perfect. With this vision when you see, so many wars are happening, but with this vision you have to see, everything is perfect in this world. Because there is a perfect God, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent God taking care of this world. So therefore, the world is in safe hands. It is not in the hands of politicians or army people, etc. No. It is in safe hands. So whatever is happening is perfect. I have to find out reason how this is perfect. Yesterday also this discussion came. No, karma and karma phala, they are very much related. When I give pain to others, that pain comes back to me. This is the law of this universe. A person who is insensitive and giving pain to others, a time comes when he is placed in the, receiving end. He starts receiving pain. And that makes him mature. That is how the world is designed. So if you are giving pain, a time will come when that same person will start giving you pain. Yesterday I was discussing this about one psychologist. They do this regression and all that, past birth they go. So they found that in this birth, if a husband is beating his wife, in the past birth, the very same husband was the wife and the wife was the husband. The roles get changed, reversed. So when you see the bigger picture, you will find that today whoever is suffering was the one who were giving suffering to others. You understood? So this world is perfect. But when you see only a small patch of incident, then you find that there is, partiality, there is injustice. But see the bigger picture. And then you find that everything is perfect. So what is our job? Let us be good, do good. Then everything good only will happen. There is no accidents in this world. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Akasyid Dukkha Bhag Bhaved Asato Ma Sangamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om